Hey guys, what is up? It is McFootball, and today we're doing a little something a little different. It's not going to be what you guys usually are seeing. Usually you see football cards or whatnot. And the real answer to the question, why am I doing this, is because I don't really have any money. Now, I know you're probably like, well, the heck with that. You should just wait till you get some money. But this is a really cool tutorial. A lot of people, not a lot, but a few people I've made banners for. And I thought that'd be an interesting subject to do since I've been doing those recently. I really enjoy doing it. So give me a heads up if you want a banner. But we're going to show you how to do that. Some examples of my banners. One is LCNY Nick, or LC New York Nick, because he's a Knicks fan. He's got about 1,000 subscribers, basically collecting, and it's pretty cool. I like watching it. It's entertaining, and so yeah, that's another one. And then a friend of mine who has a channel here. So yeah, what we're gonna have to do if you want to make this, you're gonna have to go and download Paint.net. I'm gonna have that in the description, so don't worry about that. And you're gonna need two plugins. So when you open up Paint.net, you're gonna see right now that you don't have all the plugins. What it should look like is something like this. Alright, so what you should see is the effects are just loaded with tons of stuff, and so are the adjustments. But right now, we're going to minimize Paint.net. We're going to go and get something that pops out, and that we're talking about our fonts here. And this place, Dafont.com, I'll put it in the description, has loads amounts of different fonts. Now you can download this pretty easy. It's pretty basic. You basically just, I mean, you extract, then you drag the file into your fonts folder. Be careful if you don't know what you're doing. It can be somewhat of a dangerous thing. What you're going to want to do next is find a picture on Google Images or Bing, whatever you have, an image that pops out to you or is related to what you do on your channel. And so we'll just go, I've already got one, but I'll just show you. So I'll just go like blue because I like the color blue. Alright, so you're going to come up with your image, and this is, for some reason, this is really small on here, but you're going to get your image, and you're just going to right click on your image and say Save Picture As, and then you can name it and put it where you want. Remember, try to remember where you put that file because you're going to need it, because what happens is, the problem with these banners is that they're only a certain size that you can put in there, so if you just try to make a banner then put the picture in there, it won't work. So what you're going to have to do, make sure, now you don't have to, but make sure the picture that you saved is not boxy. And what I mean by that is like 800 by 800 or 800 by 600 or something close to that, or the same width and length. You want to make sure one's longer than the other to get a nice photo, because what happens is sometimes you can distort the image and it just looks really bad. So make sure, I would do a bigger image. So I've got something here in my YouTube tutorials, and I've got a Earth HD that I downloaded from Google Pictures. And so this is the picture. Now it's already in the right size and everything, but that's okay. We don't really need to worry about that. You go to resize and you're going to say don't keep proportions, or else it'll mess you up because it'll always change it to make sure the proportion doesn't get all messed up. That's why I was saying earlier to make sure you don't have a boxy image so it doesn't look bad when you distort the image. Okay, so you're going to say apply, and then you're going to go over here and then save the picture on here. Now, we don't need to save for me because I've already done this. So the next thing you're going to want to do is go to paint.net and go to file and go to open. Now you can open this image that I have. You can open the image you just created, and it's going to be the correct file size. No, excuse me, the correct size for your banner. So you're going to go to where you put that file, and I have placed it right here in the YouTube tutorials. Excuse me, getting a little tongue twisted. And banner items, and I'm going to go to Earth HD. So here's Earth HD. And I'm just going to click on this. Now I'm going to show you before we get into it what your banner will look like, because I completely forgot about that. My mistake, guys. So your banner looks like this. I made it simple because I didn't have anybody I was making it for, but this is just a little bit of what you can do. You can do a lot more with this program, but as you can see, I made just some easy clip arts on there, and I'll show you how to do that. It's really cool. Now, as you can see, this black outlining here, it's not supposed to be there, but you're gonna want to get that from your downloads, which I had given you, and it's right here. And you're not going to have to double click on it, but as you can see, you can't see it because it's transparent. And you're going to Control C, or you can just right click copy, and you're going to want to go back to Paint.net, and then you're going to want to, now this is important when it comes to Paint.net, you have to be very careful. You're going to have something called Tools, Colors, and Layers that you're probably going to use quite a bit. And a new feature over here called History for the latest update of Paint.net. Anyways, you're going to want to add a new layer, and it's right over here on the left, and you're going to click that and make sure that you have a blue box around layer 2 or whatever layer this layer is. You can unclick that. That'll just, it won't delete it. It'll just not show the picture. But we can leave it there. So you're going to want to Control V. And it should be the exact size of the same picture. So there you go. Now the reason why you have two bars here like this is because this is where your banner is going to fit in. Anywhere in between here, everyone will see it, whether on their phone, TV, um, computer, it doesn't matter. They're going to see whatever's inside here. So that's how that works. You're going to want to add a new layer. Now, I have a text I got from Dafont, and I'm going to use that text. I can't remember the name of it, but I will pull it up right now. I believe 108 is what I use for banners because anything larger, you won't be able to fit the words you want to fit under there. But yeah, so I've downloaded Metal Lord. You can get that on there. You can type that in. So we have Metal Lord, and I like to keep it white. It's cleaner, and I will show you how to do the other thing. We can type in uh, banner template. So there you go. That's how you do it. And simply, there you go. Now, it's not the final text, obviously, but what you're going to want to do over here is make sure you're on the magic wand. Okay, so now that you're on the magic wand, you're going to want to hold down Shift and then make sure you hold it down while you right click on the letters. So simply, oh, I must have done it wrong. Um, there you go. It should do that. On my mistake. But okay. So there you go. It's all highlighted here. Then you're going to go to hit gradient, or you can just hit G on your keyboard. You're going to hit that, and that's going to bring up some stuff up here. So as you can see, we want linear reflect. Now I've chosen the colors already, but we could do pink because I think it fits what I was doing. If you were doing like a space theme, then I think that would fit. But so you want to get the same color in both sides. And then you're going to want to go over here to the S, the bottom half of this color thing, and you're going to want to just make it lighter. Not too light to where it goes white, but just a lighter color of the pink. And so that's good right about there. And now what you're going to see over here is we create a glare or glimmer effect on here. So you're going to hit Shift again, and you're going to want to place in the middle line somewhere there in on your letters. So you're going to right click, hold everything down, and then pull it out. So as you can see, we've got like a glare. Now if you go too much, you're going to get the other color and you're not going to get anything else. So you're going to want to be pretty balanced with this. That's good. Usually I go to the end of the letter there, and that works pretty good. Then you're going to want to make sure you deselect this particular one. Then you're going to want to go over to effects. Now this is where your plugins start rolling in. You're not going to have this if you don't have the plugins, so make sure you go get that. You're going to see all these things, but really the only two we're going to be using is object and object align. So we're going to go over here to object. We're going to hit drop shadow. You can just left click, drop shadow, and I had said right click earlier on that. I meant left click, my mistake. And you're going to want to get white. So we're going to just pull this down all the way. And as you can see, it goes white back here. But that's not quite what we're looking for. You see the blur in the back? We don't want that at all. So we're going to drop the blur all the way down to 0. And the widening radius looks a little too much, especially since we're going to have a black radius around it. So the 4 or the 3 would probably do us good. Alright, so we're going to go with the 3, and then we're just going to say okay. You don't need to mess with the offset. It just like completely destroys what it's supposed to be. So we're going to leave it on 0. Say okay, and then it will render the drop shadow. And then you go back to effects, and we're going to go to do the same thing, but instead we're going to make it black. So we go over here, and we make it black by finding that color, and you can't really see it because it's not very visible. Well, to see it, we're going to go over to widening radius, and we're going to make it a little wider. As you can see, you can start seeing some stuff. I think 6 would be good because you're going to notice it a little bit more when we do effects one more time, and you go over to drop shadow, and you're going to want to get on the white. Now the white, whoa, now you can see the black so clearly, but a little too much for the white. So what you're going to want to do is take your blur radius and go all the way to the other side. And now you can see the blur radius, and it looks awesome that way. You might want to tone the blur down a bit, but yeah, so you go down to there. About 3 is good, and then you say okay. Alright, so now that you have your banner template piece, you're going to want to get something underneath to tell what your channel about, and you're not going to want to make it the same color. So I'll explain in more detail. Let's make a new layer, so that way we don't make it on the same one, just in case we have mistakes, we can fix them without having to ruin the banner template part. And then what we're going to want to do is use the same lettering if you want. You can use a different one, but I'm going to use the same one because of the tutorial purposes. Now we go to text, and you're going to want to put in, now see, you don't want 108 anymore. I would drop down to 72, depending on how big this is. You might want to go down to 48, but I think 72 is good for this purpose and what we want to do. So we're going to put, just put logo and stuff, or just something similar like that, simple like that. So then you have logo and stuff underneath there, and so now that we have that, I'm gonna have to make it white because I'm like that. You don't have to do that. Next, you're gonna want to do the same process. I'll go through it again so that way we can understand it. If you don't have to go back, magic wand, hold down shift, left click, and then gonna want to go over to gradient, hit gradient, then go over, make sure linear reflect is on it. Simple, not too hard, and then we can choose. I'm going to choose this light green. I'm going to go over here to the lower half of the color chart. And we're going to make this a little lighter. And then you're going to hold down shift, make sure you're in the middle of the keys. Okay, so I've zoomed in a bit here, and you're gonna just hit it and make sure you're in the middle, and just like that. Now, if you might want it a little bit more up, the glare, so you can just do that on there, and there, simple dimple, and then you just hit deselect, and now we have this logo piece. So as you can see, it floats around by itself um, without the banner template because we're on a different layer. And then we just go back, don't want to save that, and then you go to object and you go to drop shadow. Now it's going to be probably the same, but it's probably going to be a little different. We probably want it to pop a little bit more, so we're probably going to do a black outline first. You make sure that your blur radius all the way down, don't forget about that, and then we're going to hit OK. And then we're going to go back to effects, and we're probably just going to do this once or twice. Sorry, I lost my focus. Object, drop shadow, and once again, but same thing, but we go to white and make sure it's that way. Okay, then we're going to put a black again, but this time we're not going to do it like that. we're actually going to do it a little differently. Instead of just going black and saying okay, because that would be a little weird. Now it does look pretty cool, but I was thinking a little different. So we're going to about 6 or 7, depending on your liking. You want to take the blur radius all the way down. Now, as you can see, the white shines a little bit more, and that gives it a little bit of contrast, a little bit of differences there. And so that looks pretty good. I think we should widen this a bit more. Um, that should be good. Okay, okay. And then you just zoom back out, the little zoom button here. And let me zoom in, one back. Okay, so as you can see, that pops, and it's a little different than the one up top here. Now that we have that, we're going to make a new layer. Now you could just say, this looks great, I'm done. But when you think about it, it's kind of boring. Clip art or thumbnail, what your channel's about, could be your logo for your channel. But I've got this little spaceship here, and I'm just going to copy that. And you can Control C or right click and go to copy. You want to open up Paint.net, make sure you're on the next layer, and just hit Control V. And as you can see, if I move this color chart, that a little spaceship pops up here. And this one is transparent, so I don't have to do anything special to it. And so now that we have this, we're going to put it on either side, or you could have it go straight through the middle. It's whatever your preference is. I'm going to have it going on either sides, but for now, we're going to do something before we touch this. We're going to go back to these letters, and we're going to go back to effects, and right next to object, it's called object align. You're going to want to go center horizontally, making sure that logo and stuff is centered nicely. And then you want to go to banner template and do the same thing. So that's layer 3 for us. Effects, object align, center horizontally, and it should have centered by itself. Pretty sure it did. Oh, you know what? We messed up on, I messed up, guys. Sorry. Deselect. And I'm sorry. Okay, now we do it again. It should work fine. Now these things are centered, so that way when your viewers come, it doesn't look all funny like that. So what you want to do is make sure that you're on the layer of the spaceship, which is layer 5. Now you're going to take the spaceship, and you're going to want to, let's see, for this one we'll have the spaceships going out. Now let me just arrange this correctly. You can use the outsides to make it like that. I'm going to zoom out a bit so I could see the full picture here. And we're going to make the spaceship just a tad bit bigger. And what you want to do is make it the size that you want. Then what you want to do is go down here, and you're going to see all these little options. You don't really need to focus on any of those, just these two and the layer. But you're going to go to duplicate this layer. Make sure you're on layer 5, duplicate the layer, and now you have 2 layers. As you can see, we don't want to do that though, so we'll just go back. And then what you want to do is go up to layers. So as you can see, you have all these options. Just find flip horizontal. Make sure you've copied the layers, and you hit it, and it copies directly to the other side. Now that we have them copied directly evenly, we're going to go over here and merge layer down. So you hit that, and now these 2 layers of these 2 spaceships are together, as you can see. Now we go back, and we want to go to effects. Make sure you're on that thing. Make sure you're not selecting an object either, like I did. Object align, center horizontally, and it should center it very nicely. And now as you can see, it's kind of like on top of these letters, and that's kind of annoying. So you're going to want to take this, just left click, hold your left click down, and drag it underneath the banner part. As you can see, now it's underneath. Now we're not quite done with layer 5. You're going to want to go back up to effects, and as you can see, you have that white shadow, and we kind of want that on the spaceships. So you're going to want to go over here and find that, I'm sorry, lost focus again. Drop shadow. I need to stop losing focus, guys. Alright, now we got over here. As you can see, there's a black shadow around that, but we want a white one. and that should pop up. There you go. Now it is a little bright in my opinion, so you might want to drop those down a couple depending on what you like. And guys, that's you just hit OK on that, and that's pretty much it. Now you can always do other things on here, and when you're saving your picture, you're gonna want to make sure that you don't have the layer that's the black outlining on. That was just a guide, so when you make it, you don't mess up on anything. So you could just delete that layer. And now, as you can see, this is the full thing. Now, we're not quite done yet. You're going to want to go up to File and say Save As. You say Save, you're going to save it in a Paint.net file, which will only allow you to open it in Paint.net. So make sure you say Save As. So now you have Save As. You can call it Template. And so we won't call it 4YT because we already have that one. So there you go. You got your template. Then you want to make sure that it's not on Paint.net. So as you can see, it's on Paint.net. We don't want that. So we're going to find PNG. So looks like PNG's right over here. JPEG's okay. If your computer has really small gigabytes, and you don't have that many, you might want to go with uh, the JPEG, but the quality of the picture is not going to be as great. Now, it should be fine if you do as a PNG. So I'm just going to save it as a PNG, and it's going to say save. It's going to say, is this the way you want it? I'm going to say yes, and then it's going to ask me to flatten. All that does is take all the little layers and puts them together. Since our picture is done, we can hit flatten. So it's going to save the picture, and then you can just minimize or whatever, and wherever you put it, it's going to be at. So I think I don't know where I put it on accident there, but wherever you put it, it should be right there. So it's right here with my template. So yeah, here's the final outlook, guys. So yeah, guys, that's your logo or your banner template, excuse me. If you guys want me to do another video on how to make cool logos or anything like that, uh, let me know. I don't really do tutorials, as you guys know. I just don't have money. Once again, thanks for watching, and stay cool and love football.